Hey everybody, we are live on X and on YouTube. Thanks for being here. Go ahead and get my screen pulled up as we are looking at a few different coins right now. Good morning, good morning. Welcome in. Just gonna put this over here real quick. Let people know we're live. Welcome in everybody. We'll be talking about which pools we're looking at in just a moment. All right, here, let's see. Almost done. You can see we're looking at Mizuki right here. I'll be drawing out a chart shortly. Just pulling up a few things. Very cool. And we're good. We are live. Hey, good morning, everybody. Hey, Gene, good morning. I appreciate that. Thanks for using my link. Hugo, good morning. Owen J asked when my stream was, and I am live now. So hopefully you are watching. Shared Actal, good morning. And Solana G Mountains. I'm not sure how I would say that, but hey, thanks for being here. All right, so we are taking a look at Mizuki here, which is on the move up. We've already started DLMMing this morning. We actually had this set up overnight, and then we are still DLMMing it now. It did go out of range at some point overnight. We're also DLMMing Blink, which you can see here. I have our average entry price for a small little trade that we were doing as well. And looking at a few others, we'll continue to watch what's trending. We're currently using Good Morning, Good Night, which I really like. I like the setup and everything that they're doing. And so if you do use this, I do have a referral code. Just let me know. I'll put it down there in just a little bit. My HawkFi referral, I have two different codes I use. So I'll give you this one. And then you can, because I have two different wallets I do it on. So I'm trying to split the referral codes up between the two. But that's the code there. I just posted it. Thanks for asking, Jucifer. Morning from New Orleans. Hey, Silvertrex. I have a lot of family that's from the Metairie, Kenner area in New Orleans, and I've been there many, many times. And so good to see you. Thanks for being here. All right, let's see here. So we're watching Mizuki. Let me show you all the pool that I have here. I have 125 bin, 0.25% on Mizuki. You can see that we put more on the top end of the range than the bottom, and you can see we're right about the center of our range. We've already earned $1,000 in fees on 10 grand, but this was done overnight. It did go out of our range and even or it came to the bottom of our range here where we didn't have as much liquidity. I was kind of betting and hoping on it having more upside over the night, but that's okay. We're watching it now and it's doing pretty good. It does look like it's trying to bounce off of this resistance here. And so we'll look for it to, it made a good little move up here. So we'll look for it to bounce off of one of these ranges. It is in an upward trend. And so we'll look for it to continue to move up and hopefully break out of this one. If it does, there is technically this kind of weird anomaly one here, but really the more significant one would be like one of these two up here that I'd look for it to break through as well. So we'll keep watching this. We're also in Blink. Let me show you all that pool. I shared the HawkFile referral code. It looks like it only sent it to YouTube for some reason. Not sure why it did that. Let me post it in the Twitter one as well. HawkFi code. You can enter it there. Yeah, Mizuki's trying to break out here. So we'll keep watching. Gort's doing pretty well also. It did make a big run up and there was a lot of volume. That volume's starting to die down after there were some big buys. And so I'm not super confident in Gort right now. I want to keep watching it to see what it's doing. Mizuki's been pretty consistent. So has Blink and so has ARK. And so these are the ones we're all looking at. Now on ARK, I am looking for it to bounce off of one of these kind of bottom ranges. It made like a lot of little choppy ones here. So it's really hard to tell where exactly the support is, but it's somewhere between here, I would say. And so we're looking for it to bounce and start making its way back up before we get into ARK. But if you're looking at like the 5-minute volume or the 1 hour volumes on ARK, on Blink, on Mizuki, all of them are like really, really good. You can see the 5 minutes, 240K. The 1 hour is 1.9 mil on Mizuki. On Blink, the 5 minutes, 174K and 2.9 on the 1 hour. And same on ARK, you can see it's over 100K on the 5 minute and 2.7 on the 1 hour. And so I think ARK's the one that has the least amount of volume. It's kind of dying down a little bit compared to like Blink and Mizuki. So I do like these two now, but we may rotate into one of the other ones as we go. Same thing with Gort here. It does look like the volume on it is kind of drifting off just a little bit. We'll continue to look at some of the new coins that pop up as well here. I'm really liking Good Morning, Good Night for this. And so, yeah, we're just continually watching. There's this one Mooney I'm not too sure about. It does look like it's doing well in volume. Let me check in Discord and see if anyone has talked about it at all. Let's see. I'm also going to be putting out a guide. I did some videos last night. I'm going to put it on Twitter. It's going to be in thread form, but it'll have multiple videos on each of the different kind of thread points that we put out. Let's see what Mooney's doing as far as its Twitter account. Good morning, meet Mooney. Oh, this is the mascot for Moonshot. But I don't know if Moonshot is like officially supported this token or if this token is just made by some random person. Yeah, I mean, they talk about Mooney. This might do well, but it's also one that's like, if they don't actually like support the coin itself directly, which I doubt they will, then it may not be worth it to get into it, because as quick as it would do well, it could die off as well. We'll keep watching Mooney and see. I think it's going to end up probably doing well because of the quick narrative behind it, but it may not be like the best overall. We're going to do just a quick little 0.25 buy on our challenge wallet here as it's moving up. We'll see what it does. We'll come back to it and see if we can sell it for more a little bit later. Mizuki's looking nice. It is still trying to break out above here. It's like almost doing it, but not quite. So we'll keep watching Mizuki to see if it does that. And then we are watching Blink kind of bounce up here as well. You can see we have both a Mizuki and a Blink pull here, which are both doing pretty good. Let me see if I can answer some questions for y'all. Yes, Tamilo, that HawkFi referral is mine. You can use either one. I use 2 different HawkFi codes because I have 2 different wallets, and so I wanted to spread them out between the 2. Good morning from Morocco. Hattori, thank you so much for being here from Morocco. Jesse, good morning. Good morning. Thizel, Trenches, see MTO have good volume, new one. Yeah, I saw Trenches. I actually was in it for a little while, but something about it kind of felt off, and so I wasn't sure. I can't remember what it was. I think maybe there was just a bunch of snipers still in it. You can see here on Good Morning, Good Night, it can show you the snipers. You can see this says they've sold all. These people are holding. These people bought more. So most of them have actually sold off, which might have been what all of this is here. You can see here I bought and sold some. There's a little marker there where I made a quick amount of profit. I bought in here and then sold up at the top of that little range. Obviously, it's gone up way more from there. It is in a slight downtrend. Trenches is. It is doing good volume, but that's the all-time high. That's the current support. And I want to see it break out above here after it starts creating some more upward trends. So we'll want to see higher highs and higher lows and break up between somewhere in here. So we'll keep watching that one as well. Let's open up a new one. Yeah, Mizuki just broke out. So that's a really good sign here. Big buys coming in through Mizuki. Our pull is probably looking pretty nice as well. We only did 125 bin, so we're not going to stay in range for too long. I kind of do expect it to push up here and then start to create a new range higher. Obviously, if it just explodes through, we'll make a bunch of money like that as well. But we'll see what these candles close out at. And so I'm going to need to move up the candles here. It's moving quicker than I thought. So actually, this top candle is the all-time high on Mizuki, which is at 48 million. And so we are here. Let's see. Yeah, so we're just watching it. We're going to keep riding this up. And obviously our pool is doing really well over here. We're earning close to 100% as this is pushing up. At some point, we are actually going to want it to find a new range that it's kind of bouncing between up here. So we'll see where that is. I'll start to draw some new supports as it makes them on the way up. And then we'll see. It looks like it's testing its all-time high here. So we'll see if it decides to break out there or not. Hey, welcome in. We're over 300 views already. Thank y'all so much for being here. I stream Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and sometimes on Friday like I am today. Today will be a little bit of a shorter stream. We normally do an hour and a half to 2 hours, but we're trying to cut it back just a little bit when we do stream on Fridays, unless there's something big going on. But thank y'all so much for being here. I will be going over HawkFi and some of the kind of long-term consistent plays that I do, as well as some of the meme coin plays like you're seeing live on the screen right now. And so just follow along. If you have any questions along the way, please feel free to ask them. I'll take a look at the chat and answer a few questions at a time, and then move back to actually doing the active stuff and making some money and go back and forth like that. We are holding Blink as well. And so you can see here that it's ranging nicely. You can see we bought in just a little bit here. So we were looking to do a little bit of a flip on Blink also, but we also are DLMMing it. So we'll see how it goes there. It looks like it's still trying to test its all-time high. Mizuki is. So we'll continue to watch it. Obviously, if it ends up exploding up, breaking out of its all-time high and continuing to go up, that'll be good. But we actually prefer it to kind of create a new range for a little while before it decides to break out, so that we can earn more and more fees before it moves out of our range. But either way, we're looking pretty good right now on the fee structure. We did run this overnight, even though it didn't earn as much as it could have overnight. And it's doing a lot better now. You can see that overall, we've already earned a bunch of fees. Normally I would claim these fees and roll them back into the pool. But you know what? Actually, I might do that. Let's do that. We're going to claim them. I was going to say that I might just wait, but my hope on this is actually that Mizuki will not push up too fast, and it'll range a little while. And so because I think it's going to do that, and I'd like to hold this long term, I'd like to hold this for the whole day or many hours if it keeps earning what it's earning. So we will go ahead and add this Mizuki here. Oh, actually, I don't think I can add that much Mizuki. We claimed so much, and it's worth a lot more than whenever it initially came in. So we're just going to have to do what we have as far as our Solana. So we'll just add it here. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll add it in and compound it. And then we'll just hold on to some of the Mizuki that we do have as it pushes up here. We'll take advantage of that as well. It does look like it's trying to break its all-time high. It hasn't done it yet. It still is testing. You can see here as the candle moves up and down. We don't consider a candle that's temporarily above a range or above a zone to have broken out. We want to see it close out a candle. So you can see it closed out red here. And so it's still testing. We'll see if it decides to actually break down from here, or if it's going to test around here before breaking up. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little bit of a test like we are now. And we'll look for it to create a new support up here, because you can see the previous support is down here and here. And so a lot of times whenever it's testing off an all-time high with this kind of volume, it'll actually create one somewhere in between these two. Now, it may not. It may come all the way back down to here, but I wouldn't be surprised if it created one like around this range right here. So we'll continue to watch that. Blink's still doing good. We are wanting Blink to bounce and come back up here, so we'll continue to watch to see what it does. And we're also watching ARK. We're not in ARK right now, but we do like ARK overall. The volume on ARK has dipped down a lot, and so that's why we're not actively in it. Gwart is absolutely ripping right now. So this might be one that we should be looking at. The interesting thing is, even though the price on Gwart is moving up a lot, the volume isn't as high as like Blink and Mizuki. So we'll continue to watch it. I'm not too worried about missing this. We can only have our money in so many. And if you look at this, it was sitting right here and then all of a sudden ripped up. And so the volume on it has started to die down a little bit. So even though it is moving up nicely here, I think that overall I'm still kind of skeptical on what Gwart's doing, considering that the liquidity that or the volume it's putting out is just so recent. So I want to keep watching that one. We missed the profit on Mooney, but we're still holding it here. We'll let it bounce back up and see. We came back to look at trenches. It doesn't look like it's bouncing back up, so we're going to get out of trenches. If it ends up coming back up, then we can relook at it. But as of now, we're going to stay away from it and see where it goes. Apple looks to be doing a lot of volume, so let's look at Apple. That's one we've done before in the past. Let's see, Rough. We'll look at this one. And Gooch Coin's actually been sitting around doing pretty well, as well as ALK, which we do like ALK. We've seen that one in the past. So we'll take a look at a few of these. Let me go ahead and take some questions. Y'all can see my Mizuki pool here. I went ahead and claimed all the fees and stuff. So you can see we've already earned almost $80 just within the last like few minutes since we claimed the previous amount. And you can see the 24-hour fee showing like 6%, but this is just going to average up as it moves back up. So we'll come back and look at that. Let's see. We bought just like 0.25 SOL of this. I'm not sure where this is going to go, so I'm just going to sell my point, take like a 0.02 loss here just to get out of this. Mooney isn't one. The volume's dying down on it. It doesn't look like one that I'd be super interested in getting into. So I need to refresh this, I think. There was a time the other day on Good Morning, Good Night where like I was trying to sell and it wasn't working, and I just refreshed and it worked like right away. So let's try to do that and see if it works. I'm not sure if it's because I have so many tabs open or could be just because the price is moving pretty heavily. I do have a slippage of 15% and a pretty high priority on as well. 0.01 to make sure that it goes through. We'll come back to it and see in just a second. Yeah, so you can see Mizuki is breaking down here. Like I had said, my screen is, or the chart itself, not the screen, but the chart is kind of freezing up here. I think I have too many tabs open. Let's take a look at a few of these real quick so that I can close them out, and then we'll move on. Close out of some of these tabs. There we go. There we go. My lines went away, but that's all right. Like I said, I was okay if it came all the way down and broke off of one of these supports down here, but I thought that it might try to create a support a little bit higher like it's doing there. So that's a good sign because it's still in an uptrend. If this does bounce up like it looks like it's going to, then this is still in a pretty solid uptrend. It could also start to do a sideways trend, which I would also be good with, which basically just means it continues to move through this range here. So we'll keep watching that. Let's refresh Mooney again, see if we can get it back up. Yeah, ALK is ripping up. ALK had come down a lot. I didn't realize. I was DLMMing it and then I got out of it, but now it looks to be moving up. So it's going to be testing some ranges here also, some resistance right there. And so we'll look. Actually, it's right there. There's a few of them. Yeah, my charts are struggling. I think I got too many tabs open. All right, let me answer some questions. Let's see here. What do you think about Gooch from yesterday? Seems to have 1 million volume on the 1 hour. Yeah, I'm not super confident in Gooch. I was looking at it a little bit earlier. I think that it could do well, but let's take a look. I saw it up here doing decent volume. Yeah, it's right here. See if it'll let me sell. Obviously, I'm in a loss. That's okay. I think this is going to end up dipping more. There we go. It finally went through. We'll get out of that one. Yeah, Mizuki bounced off actually here and is moving back up. Mizuki's got some really big like green candles, so it's a good sign. Yeah, so Gooch has been ranging decently. Obviously, it came down and ranged pretty low, came all the way down to like just below 5.5 million market cap before moving back up. These are some previous lines that I had the other day when it was like way up. It still hasn't really made like a strong enough pullback yet, but it does look like it's moving decently. It came up and then came back down here. So I'll continue to watch it. I'll come back to it. But as of right now, it doesn't look like super exciting for me. Fulcrum asked, is it good to enter Blink now? Blink could be good right here. I would say that you'd probably want it to move up here first. Because right now it's kind of in a slight down / sideways trend. And so you'd want it to push above this, in my opinion. It's technically overall, if you look at like kind of a wider, further out view, it's still in an uptrend right now. But we really need this to start moving up and like break over this line. So you could, if you're looking to be a little bit more risky and kind of swing trade it, and you think it would come back up here, you could buy it lower here. But I would personally wait for it to break above this line after showing some more continued upward support before getting into it. Yeah. ALK's looking good. It did break off this resistance here, so we'll need to see where it goes. Apple just has some recent volume, but that's not really a good sign. Overall, its volume isn't great, so it's not one that I'd want to DLMM. We'll keep looking at some of these new ones that are popping up here. Let's see. I'm going to open up Mizuki. We'll keep watching that, and I'm going to answer some questions. When a coin is launched through Moonshot, you can see a moon icon in Good Morning, Good Night. Yeah, you can. Do you sell all your DLM through HawkFi now? Do you do all your... No, I don't do it all through HawkFi. You can see here, I have Meteora. I have 2 different pools. So HawkFi is really, really good at auto balancing for me. It's good at auto compounding over time. And so it's just a really good, consistent way of managing my less risky portfolio. And so you can see here, this is my HawkFi account. If you look at Solana, it's come up and down a lot. Let me show y'all here. And so Solana's back down to $221 here. And so you can see it's been dipping. And so on our HawkFi account, you can see the overall balance is closer to 51,000. You can see here we've earned about $1,000 in fees. And so over time, this will continue to balance back and forth. Yeah, so I allow this to just kind of build and go over time. Basically, we're kind of doing a challenge. We want to see like, hey, is this going to be good? Is this something you can do for a week or 2 weeks or even a month? And what do your profits look like at the end? Watching Solana moving up and down the whole time, watching your total balance go up and down, but overall earning more Solana over time, and trying to get an idea of what that looks like, right? Because let me actually go take a look here. I'm going to look at my profile and some of my previous stuff that I posted. I want to look at the HawkFi daily from, yeah, right here. So you can see we were up. This was, when did I post this? This was yesterday. Yeah, this was about like 18 hours ago, roughly. And so you can see how much fees we had earned, 998. We've now earned 1,171. You can see that the total assets, we had 158 SOL and 15,911 USDC. You can see we have way more SOL now, 183 and 10,000 USDC. And so over time, we'll see how much are we actually getting as far as the SOL and the USDC. Are we building our portfolio over time? Even though the balance may go down as it shifts, overall, are we earning as it grows over time? And so it'll be interesting to see what that looks like. And we'll keep watching it. It's kind of part of the challenge that we're doing, though. It does look like Mizuki might be trying to break out again. It is testing its all-time high here, so that's a good sign. I'm going to go back to my Mizuki pool because it's doing really well. Let's see. What is your deck screen setting like? I don't use deck screener anymore. I'm using Good Morning, Good Night. And so I'm not sure what you mean by settings, but if I'm just looking at the 1 minute chart and then I draw lines. Could you expand on what you're asking for settings? Jesse, hey TG, grateful for your work, man. Thanks so much, man. I appreciate it. Do you suggest any indicators for finding plays? I see you chart, but if someone is not as experienced, yeah, Loves. I mean, I think you don't need to be super experienced to chart. Like I've had a lot of people start to do the charting that I'm doing, and for them, it's like, you know, they're doing really well. So for instance, if anybody can look at a chart and you can see where the red and the green meets and creates these flat lines here, this is how you draw a chart. So if I'm looking at this chart here, all you do is you go and you draw it and you just say, okay, where the token is now, where is the previous support or the previous point in which it came down and then started to work its way back up right here. This is the point at which it meets. It's very flat right here. So you would just draw a line. Then you come down here and say, where does it do it again? It's like, these are real tiny, so I wouldn't really count these. This is the significant one here, right? There's always going to be little ones, but we're looking for big moves, right? And then you can see the next one would be here, and then the next one would be here. And so these are what I would call your supports as it moves down. These are areas where previously people were looking at the token and said, okay, it's dipped enough where I want to buy it, or it's gone up enough where I now want to sell it. And there's usually some sort of general trend that you'll find amongst people who buy and sell this coin. And that's how these form, right? Because if you look back, I just drew these lines based on this. But if you look at these lines, look at where these supports and resistances are hitting. They're almost exactly on these lines. Look at that, right? You look at this one here. Like, now they're not perfect, but almost always you can look back at where it's hitting here and see that it's doing the same thing previously, right? And it's crazy. Sometimes I'll draw lines and then I'll look at it in the future and it's followed and bounced off of all these as well. And so it's pretty cool to see, but this is how I draw the lines. And then from there, you just have to make a decision, right? So you're going to say, okay, if I'm setting up my pool and I got in around here, once it makes it to a certain point down or up or down, I need to get out. And you make those decisions based on a certain point, support or resistance. And you just say, look, based on my risk tolerance, how much money I have in here, if it goes below this one, then I'm going to get out. Or if it goes above this a certain amount, then I'm going to get out and take my profits. And that's how you do it. You just have to take your profits where you can, try to reduce your losses. But the drawing of the chart's pretty easy. And so as far as looking at when to get in and out of a coin, this is what I would do. I think that everybody can learn this. You just need to start doing it and practicing, and you'll be good. But I think that's a good question, Loves. I didn't pull it up on the screen, but this is your question. Also, indicators for finding plays in general, we've talked about this, but like the main one is just coming here, doing 5-minute volume and looking at what's moving, then clicking on it, and then you can do more research. But volume is obviously king. You could also do the 1 hour volume and look at it as well, because that'll give you an indication of it being not just a quick pump, but something that's been actually going on for a little while now. I like to do the 5-minute preferably, because then I can catch something a little bit sooner. Nice. I found it on Discord and started using HawkFi today. Griffin is printing. Hey, Tamila. Awesome, man. Thanks. When you provide liquidity, what is the percentage split of sold to that specific token? It just depends. You can see on this one here that whenever I first set this up, I go to add position. And let's say I put in this much. The percentage split would look like this. This is just the auto balance fill. The reason that it's not a perfect 50-50 is because it's actually basing it off of the 50% of the bins here and here. And so sometimes based on the price of each of the tokens, it doesn't actually make a perfect 50-50, even though the value of the coins up here are close to 50-50. The actual range won't be quite 50-50. You could also change this as well. You could just do like this. But of course, when you do that, it's going to move it and it's going to look slightly offset because, again, based on the value of the tokens and where you're at. But you can add a position like that and that would determine. But normally I do close to a 50-50 split between SOL and the token. There are times where I set up one-sided pools as well. And I'll just ride the pool up as I do a one-sided pool, like something like this. You don't do autofill and you could just put it in. Like right now, I could just add this. I could also add it to my current position. I could come in here and I could just add this and it'll just sell on the top side of this. Now, I'm not going to do that, but you could do that. You could just add it in and it would sell the rest on the top side up here. So you can do it in multiple different ways. So you don't have to add SOL to your position. But if you think it's going to go up and down, then you probably do want to add SOL. Another thing that you can do is like if you're in this pool and you're like, you know what, if this thing dips down further, I'm probably not going to stay that much in it anyway. And I think it has more upside than downside. you can actually come in here to withdraw. You can go here and click on Sol instead of, or Mizuki, but in this instance, Sol instead of both Mizuki and Sol. And you can say, you know what, I'm going to withdraw 50% of the Sol in this pool. And you can click withdraw here. Now it's also going to remove some of the fees that you've earned. But overall, you can withdraw mostly Sol or all of the Sol that you want to, and then also just this tiny amount of Mizuki from the fees. And then that way it would remove it everything from here down, and it would you could then use that Sol for something else. Now, if it goes back down, obviously you won't earn as much fees because now you have less Sol on the downside. But if you think it's just going to go up, then it's not a bad idea. I'm just looking at Blink here. I am DLMMing Blink also, so it's one that I'm watching. Also like Alk and Arc, but we're watching both of those. Neither of them are doing anything significant right now. I would rather have more Sol than the specific token, but not sure what is right. Yeah, for sure. Like right now, like I obviously have more Sol. I have almost 10K worth of Sol and about 3.5 worth of Mizuki. I could close out the pool right now. If I'm worried about this coming back down too far, it would make sense. I've made a lot of fees. Like I compounded like $1,200 in fees earlier, and now I'm up to almost $300 in fees again. And so I've earned a ton of fees. I'm up in my total value for how much I own. And so I could say, you know what, I'm going to get out right now. Honestly, I'm looking at the volume and I'm looking at what the chart's doing. And if it looks like it's going to start to dribble off and come down, volume might die down, then I might say, you know what, I think I'm just going to go ahead and get out of the pool and I'll just sell it where it is now. You know, so that is an option. And that way you're leaving with more Sol than you are with the token. You could also just like, once you do that, you can just sell the token and kind of claim or finalize those profits that you've earned. Right. And so as I'm looking at this, the volume does look like it might be dying down some. So we're going to go ahead and close out of this Mizuki pool here. Just like this. We're going to wait for it to execute, and we're going to decide here if we want to create something else or if we want to go ahead and get out based on what it's doing. Let's see. Also, sometimes when I'm swapping out of a token like this, if depending on the price of Sol, like Sol's down a little bit, I'll swap here. If I think that this price of Sol is kind of high, then sometimes I'll swap into USDC. I'll wait for the price of Sol to go down, and then I'll swap it into that. So we went ahead and sold for now. It could break back up, but the volume is dying down on it just a little bit. The volume was a little sporadic. We caught a really good run up here, and so no need for me to get greedy. After it dips back down, if I want to come back and get into it again, I can. But we're going to take a look at a few other tokens to potentially get into. We're also seeing a similar thing happen with Blink here. Let me see where my where I'm at on Blink. Blink wasn't earning me as much fees, and I think we just had a one-sided pull on Blink, so it's not actually earning me a lot anyway. Whenever it had pumped up, it looks like we were earning a good bit, but we're not anymore. I think we're just going to go ahead. Blink looks like the volume on it is dying down as well. Let's see here. I'm not too worried about the red numbers. Like I don't mind when price goes down whenever I'm DLMing. I'm more so looking at the actual volume. The volume is still decent on Blink, but it is dying down a little bit. So I think I'm going to try to, if it'll work, I'm going to sell a little bit here. I closed out of the pool there. And we're going to look for some new plays to get into here. We probably took a small loss on Blink because we actually got in lower. We just created the pool a little bit higher, thinking that it was going to keep breaking up. We had been in Blink since last night. All right, let's see here. I'll get back to answering a few of those questions in just a moment. I am managing multiple wallets, and so I want to make sure that I capitalize on that. So let's see. All right, that's good there. Okay, so that sold there. I'm gonna go ahead and close. Oh wait, I shouldn't have closed out a blank. I have a small amount of money that I was messing with the actual trading of it, and I'm just gonna go ahead and take a small loss on it. But I don't think it actually went through yet. Oh no, it did go through. Okay, we're good. Just wanted to make sure. So we're watching ALK as well. Let me draw some lines on this one. It did break off of this resistance here, so we'll keep watching that. ARC volume still looking pretty good. What's the ALK volume looking like? Yeah, ALK's okay. It's a little bit less than ARC. Mizuki's still looking better than both of them, honestly. We ended up taking the win on that, which is fine, but the volume on Mizuki is just a little bit choppier, whereas you can see like on ALK, it looks much more consistent. And so we're going to keep watching it, though, on all of these. I do kind of like ARC and where it's at with it breaking off here. We're going to wait for it to move back up, though, and then we'll make a decision from there. Let's see if there's anything new. And let me see if I can take some questions, and we'll see what people are discussing and talking about. Hey, thank y'all again for being here. We are up to over 500 viewers. We have a decent amount on YouTube, 44, and about 500 on Twitter. Thank y'all for being here. I do stream Monday, Wednesday, Thursday of every single week, and then sometimes on Fridays like I am today. This will be one of my shorter streams. We'll probably go for just another 30 minutes or so. But thank y'all for being here. Feel free to ask me any questions along the way. If you have any questions about what I'm doing or why, I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. Also, if you do end up using Good Morning or Good Night, I have a referral code, or if you end up using HawkFi, I have a code for this as well. I will talk a little bit more about HawkFi in just a little bit once I kind of finish balancing some of this out. So we shouldn't have any pools open there. Let me just double check the wallet here, make sure. Yeah, so we're good. So we're set up. We have about 20K to work with as far as DLMMing. We have another big chunk, some more stable stuff that we do. But right now we have 20K of our portfolio to work with on some of this. I wanted to add liquidity on Gucci on Meteora, 0.65 SOL. I needed, but when swapping some amount on Gucci and Jupiter, I only got 0.5 SOL. Can you explain? Yeah, so Hattori, whenever you go to swap, especially meme coins, anywhere you go, there's not as the reason why. Let me start with this. The reason why we provide liquidity is to try to reduce what just happened to you, where you wanted to swap some SOL, but you ended up getting less, right? So the reason that is because you need liquidity. That's called slippage. And so basically there's a gap in what someone's willing to pay and what someone's wanting to sell it for, what the actual price of it is. And because of that, there's usually a slippage that occurs, right? And so when we provide liquidity, we're trying to fill those gaps so that you have a better entry and exit out of and into tokens. And so early meme coins like Gooch, they only have so much liquidity. So like in Meteora, there's only 400K. If you look in Radium, there's probably only about that much also. And so there's just not enough liquidity to be able to have a seamless transition without there being some slippage in between there. And so like if I go swap and I'm looking to swap, 25 SOL of Blink here, you can see it's worth 5,533, but it's showing how much I would actually get. Now, in this instance, the price difference, you can see down here at the bottom. Let me zoom in. You can see it says price impact, price difference within 1.6%. And so this is actually good. It's a very close price range. It's actually showing me that I'll get more than what it's worth. That's probably because the price is going down. The price has gone up just a little bit within the last few minutes. But depending on the token that you do, let's go to the one you were talking about. We can look at Gooch. If we go to buy it, you can see sometimes when there's high volume, then you'll end up having that happen. You can see here that I have $4,441, but it's only giving me 4,385. So I'd miss out on like $60 right here, right? And that's part of the slippage. And you can actually see the pools that it's going through. It's using some different pools here. And it'll reroute. That's the good thing about Jupiter. It reroutes and tries to find you the best path. But that's why that happens. How do you determine to keep Mizuki overnight versus just closing? A little bit of it is like kind of a gut feel or a feeling of based on what it's going to do. A lot of coins actually do pretty well overnight because while I'm sleeping in the US market, the Asian market's waking up and they do a lot of volume. And then right when I'm waking up, or a little bit before I'm waking up, you actually have the European market, which is kind of getting into their hot time just before lunch or around lunch. And so I think that sometimes I miss a lot of the volume if I don't leave it overnight. So if there's a coin that looks fairly stable, I like the narrative. I think that it's one that's shown that it's going to stay pretty strong. Then sometimes I'll overnight it. That's not always the case, but in this instance, I decided to do that. I overnighted both Mizuki and the other one that I was just looking at that I can't remember the name, but there were two of them that I overnighted. And a lot of times I've overnighted ALK as well. ALK does look like it's trying to break up a little bit further here. There's a lot of little resistance, so we'll keep watching that. But that's one that I'm interested in. Mizuki is still kind of ranging around where it was. Yeah, it showed some consistency for me, Jesse. That's part of the reason why. Good morning, good night. Need to be working on their servers. Sometimes it's very slow. I haven't had any issues with it. The only reason I think I had an issue with it is because I had 10 tabs of good morning, good night open. So it was probably putting a lot on it for me. But whenever I've only had like 2 or 3 or 4, it does fine. Do you have a filter? Select which tokens to review. Be on lookout for potential position. Yeah, Lucky. So like I explained, I come here, I do the 5 minute. I look at the volume here. Sometimes you can go to the 1 hour as well. But I like to look at the 5 minute volume because it's going to give me an update of kind of what's the quickest. Then I look at the market cap, which you can see here is just below the total amount of liquidity as well that's being provided, or the liquidity burnt, sorry. And so if it's really low market cap, like 148K here, I don't even look at it. I only look at something that's like over 1 million, preferably even 2 million market cap. And even then, like sometimes I can just get a feel for it, like based on how many holders there are and stuff like that. Like this looks fake just by looking at these numbers right here. So I don't even look at it. I've learned to just kind of filter it out over time. I know that Pingu hasn't launched a token yet. So I know that this is just the little altcoin, whatever one. And so I'm not interested in that. ALK is doing well. Graphane's doing well. Fartcoin. So a lot of these like larger cap ones. You also have Trenches, which we were looking at earlier, which seems to be doing good. And so these are all ways that I look at it. So like I'll look at this and then I'll say, okay, let me look at Graphane. I'll just open it up and come over here and look at it. And then I look at the top 10 holder count. I look at the audit. I'll go to their Twitter, look at it like that. And so Graphane's doing pretty good right now. It's got good volume. This could actually be a good one for us to DLMM. I think that obviously like I'm looking at ARK, Mizuki, ALK, a few different ones. Graphane is a much larger market cap, so I don't think we're going to earn as much doing this. I might actually swap to this one like after I get off stream. I'd like to show people some of the lower cap stuff though and how we do that. So I'll come back to Graphane, but I do like it. I think it would be a good one to DLMM more longer term. Probably earn anywhere between like 3 and 10% on the 24-hour. It does have a decent amount of volatility as well. 100 bin might be good for that one, so we'll keep watching it. Let's see. Loves, when a token goes up and down, up and out of range, how do you prevent it from changing all to the other token? If you leave a pool open and the token comes back within range, will it change back to the other coin? Yeah. So you don't prevent it from doing that, right? Like if you set up a pool, it's going to move up and down. And so if it's moving up out of range and it's selling out of the token, that's just naturally what happens. There's no way to prevent that. That's just the way that the pool works. And so, so you can see if you have it set up like this, as it moves up out of range, you're going to be selling your Solana and you'll have USDC at the end of it. Now it's going to be the pool of it. The whole pool itself will be worth more than it was when it was down here. But you can't prevent it from going away. If you think like, let's say you DLMM it for a little while and it moves up and down, and then you think it looks like it's about to break out and move out of your range, you can just close out of the pool and rebalance it when it's around like the 75% range. Like once it's about halfway up on the top end here, I usually don't wait. I usually wait until it's like closer to the 80, 90% before I rebalance it. If you want to rebalance. Now with Sol USDC, I do. Now I do that on HawkFi with my Sol USDC pool rebalancing here. But a lot of times with meme coins, if they end up pushing out of my range, unless I think they're just going to keep exploding, I don't rebalance them. I just take the profit and move on to another coin because many times they'll retrace back down and I can get into them at another time if that's the case. So yeah, that's kind of how I decide that. Also, if you leave a pool open and the token comes back in a range, it will change back to the other coin. Yeah, because as this moves up, it's changing into that one coin, and as it moves down, it's changing into the other one. That's kind of the gist of how it works. People are using your liquidity, which is here, to buy and sell, and so as they do that, it's going to move up and down, and that's the risk of liquidity providing like this with DLMMing, right? So if there's no risk, then there would be not as great of a reward because everybody would be doing it. But because you have the opportunity to have the token, maybe if you wanted to hold it longer and it goes out of range, well, you won't have it anymore. And vice versa, maybe it ends up going down and you end up losing because you own a lot of the token and don't earn any more SOL, don't own any more SOL, but now the token's worth less. So those are the risks on both sides of liquidity providing. Shakester, good morning. Thanks for being here. Gene to Win asks, can we add to our Hawk 5 position or do we have to open a new one? You can add to it. You would just go to your Hawk 5 position here. You would click on it like this, and you'd click on deposit. When you do that, you would just enter in the amount that you want, and you would input it. And so you can just add directly onto it right here. Now, one thing to consider is depending on where the range is at, it'll determine how much you're depositing. So like if I wanted to put in 2,000 USDC, you can see it's going to add all that 2,000 just in this little tight range here. And then if I wanted to add, 20 SOL, you can see it's going to add it across this range here. So if you're wanting it to add new liquidity and it to be back to a balanced position, you would either need to close out of this position and remake a new one with the amount you're trying to add in, or you could add it in directly like this. It just may not be the best ratio. Or you can just create a new position, leave this one up, create a new one, and do it that way. So there's multiple ways that you can do it. Checking out some of these. What the heck is Pinot? If you want to enter now in Mizuki, is it better to buy it in a big support? Yeah, you don't want to buy in right now. This doesn't look great. I don't know what this is. So for Mizuki, you don't want to buy in when it's at the top of its all-time high. You want to wait for it to come down and bounce off of one of these supports. Honestly, the way it's looking right now, it's in a sideways position. This would actually be good to be DLMMing it right now. Obviously, we got out, which is okay. But this would be good time if you were already holding, like if you got down lower, because it'd be ranging in the top side of your range. But I would wait for it to break down and bounce off either this support. Really, I'd wait for it to come maybe even lower and then break back up before you get in. Now, that may be a while. So it's up to you kind of what you're wanting to do. But you can see this is where it's been ranging. So if you get in anywhere up here, this is the top end of the range. If it ends up coming back down all the way to the bottom here, then you'll be in some losses and you'll have to wait for it to come back up. If it comes back up, to then get back to where you started. Now, you'll be earning fees along the way, but you definitely don't want to get in at the top side here. So wait for it to bounce down and come back up. Also, if it bounces and it looks like it's going to break above this right here, then you could get in here as well as it moves up to form a new range. Those are some different options you can take. If you had to make a pool, would you choose Mizuki or Blink? I don't have a position in either. It really just depends. I think both Blink and Mizuki are good, but they may be good at different times in different ways. And so I wouldn't get into Blink right now or Mizuki based on where they're at. So Blink is in a downward trend. You'd want it to find a good support and start working its way back up before you get into it. And Mizuki is in a sideways trend, which could be a good time to get in, but we don't know. If basically once it's in a sideways trend, we don't know if it's going to break down or break up after coming out of here. And so we would be waiting to see which one it's going to do. If it goes down, then you'd want to wait, just like we're waiting here. And if it goes up, then as soon as it breaks out, you could get into it there. So I would wait. ARK is looking like it could be pretty good. The volume on ARK is still decent. And so if ARK breaks above this here and it starts to continue to move up here, then this would be a good one to get into. I do like ARK. Alchemy could also be a good one. It's a little bit of a higher market cap. I would maybe wait because it's still kind of testing these resistances here. And so I would wait on ARK as well. And then Graphane is actually in a great spot. Like if you wanted to enter into Graphane, now would be a good time. It started to move up. It's overall in an upward trend. And so right now would be a good time to get into Graphane. It is a higher market cap though, so you won't earn as much. We're not going to get into it right now, but it is one that we're watching, and we're watching ARK as well. And then we're going to be looking at some new coins that pop up also. Can you look at Gort? Yeah, we've looked at Gort in the past. Let me just look at the volume if Gort's not in the top 5 volume, yeah, like I have to scroll down very far to get to it. So I can almost guarantee you that Gort's in a downtrend right now. We'll just take a look at it. So see how when I open up a bunch of these tabs like this, I've left this browser open way too long. I probably need to close out of it, which is part of why it's going slow, but also just the good morning, good night server. If I'm like, it does the same thing with Deck Screener, with Bird Eye, any of the ones that I use. If I have way too many tabs open, then it will lag like this. Gort's actually looking like it's doing pretty good, but the volume on it has died down a lot. It's still decent volume. But in my opinion, I would expect this to move down unless the volume picks up. So I would want to see the volume pick up. Now, if I was looking at this and this was a brand new chart, I'd probably think different. But considering that it was down here and it picked up volume and then had this massive spike, this could just be kind of a temporary artificial thing because of a big whale getting into it. And so if that's the case, I want to wait to see kind of how it stabilizes before I get back into it. So that's my feeling on Gort. It could be good, though. It could absolutely skyrocket and do amazing. I'm not sure. I'm just kind of going off of what I think. We are watching ARC look like it's starting to test this support here or resistance here. So we'll see where that goes. Morning. Have we looked? Oh, wait. When using HawkFi, if your positions go out of range, how long does it take for auto rebalance to kick in? Every hour. Yeah. So worst case scenario is that your pool goes out of range and it just checked 1 minute before. And so you need to wait 59 minutes before it auto does it. Now, most of the time, on average, you can imagine that it probably is closer to only waiting 30 minutes because it may have just checked it 10 minutes ago, may have checked it 40 minutes ago. It could have checked it 55 minutes ago, and then it's only out of range for 5 minutes, right? So it checks it every hour, so that does range depending. Have we looked at Rich yet? Yeah, I haven't looked at Rich in a hot minute. Let me see here. I don't think alchemy is moving enough for me to get into it right now anyway, so I'm just going to use this. We had DLMM'd Rich a lot. It was doing really well. The volume on Rich is down. It's in a downward trend, so I'm going to say no go on Rich. Thank you for doing this on Friday. Every time I learn something. Hey, Hector, thanks for being here. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. And we will have a shorter stream today. You keep in mind the other conditions, like your liquid should be $100+, and don't forget to configure if you're going to rebalance up and down or down only or up only. Yeah, absolutely, Satos. Great point. For HawkFi, you can look underneath the when you go to configure it. Makes me sign this message. When you go to configure your pool on HawkFi after you create it, and you set up the auto rebalance, it'll tell you right here. So rebalance mode, you can change it up or down, up only, down only, depending on what you want to do. And you can see here every hour it'll check. And if the pool price is out of range and the position balance is over $100, then it rebalances. If not, it doesn't. So if you're below $100, then it won't do that. So just know when you're using HawkFi, that is one of the parameters. Make sure y'all read all the fine print. I don't have every little bit of information that you might need. And so just make sure that you're checking that out. Airdrops Accounts asks, is there any news on Croak? Croak is a meme coin that I created. We are in the works with some stuff behind the scenes. It's a coin that went up a lot and then came back down. It's now been chilling at the spot that it's at for a little while, but it is something that we are working on. It is just a meme coin, so just know that. But we'll see what that looks like for the future. We are continuing to put stuff out and have some new art coming out for it. Yoda Master, good morning and thank you. Yeah, no problem. If I'm a long-term ALK holder, would it be smart to DLM with a lower bin? It depends on what your expectations are or what you're wanting to do, So if you're a ALK holder and you want ALK, you think ALK's going to go up over time in the long run, then you might want to set a wide bin, right? And so you're basically like, hey, I'm going to hold the token. I'm okay selling out of it as it moves up. Basically DCAing out of it, but I'd like to earn some fees along the way. Then you would set like a really wide bin, like a 250 bin or even a 400 bin, depending on how wide of a range you want. And then you can kind of decide from there. If you're okay with the price that ALK is now, and you're like, hey, if it goes up a little bit, and I sell out of it, I'm okay with that based on where it is. Then you could set up a tighter bin, right? If you set up a tight bin, it might just range between it and you earn a lot of fees. But at any point, if it does decide to break out or dip back down, then you'll end up losing out of your token pretty quickly and selling out of it if it moves up on a tight bin. And if it ends up going down, then all the SOL that you have set up on it, you'll end up buying a lot of it, which you may be okay with. And so you may decide to do that. But that's kind of the idea. You either want to do it tight because you think the price is going to stay where it is and you're not worried about it dipping down or up. Or if you just want to kind of sell out of it slowly over time and earn fees as it moves up and down, I'd set like a 250 bin or something. You need to look at the range yourself, but a 250 bin or something like that could be good to sell out of it as it moves up to like the 200 mil or higher range. I used to provide liquidity on Uniswap, but with small amounts, so the ETH fees killed me. Looking to start on Sol, what's the minimum amount you suggest to make worthwhile? Shakester, hey, welcome to the other side of the grass. It is green over here, even though they tell you that it's not. The big reason that I think ETH will die over time, it won't stay as relevant as Solana will. No offense to any people on ETH, but the fees are just way too high. It can't handle the mass users that are coming in from retail. And so glad that you are here. If you're starting on Sol, I would say you should move everything from ETH to Sol personally. I'm a Sol maxi. I don't go anywhere else. The main reason is because I love DeFi. I love being able to earn money. I don't like giving my money away. And on Solana, you can do tons of transactions and fees, and it costs pennies compared to ETH, where it costs many, many dollars during high times, sometimes way more. And so I would suggest there's not necessarily a minimum amount. If you're going to be doing some sort of DLMMing, if you can do $500 or $1,000 or more, I think that's a great place to start. Obviously, if you could do 5 or 10 grand or 20 grand, you're going to be able to earn more. And so I think you should start with a smaller amount if you're not comfortable with DLMMing. If you are, then and you're more comfortable, then you can start with a higher amount. So it's really up to you. But personally, I would say you should transfer over everything because Sol, once you start using it, ETH's going to feel like a dinosaur and you're going to want to move it all over anyway. So you might as well just take the plunge and do it now. So I see you chart in USDC. Is that the preference? Yeah. So people have asked me this before, right? So whenever you look at the portfolio, I don't have any pools set up. I need to look to enter into some, but whenever you look at one, you can see that like my second pair of token is always like Sol, like a Sol USDC, or it's, Mizuki Sol or something like that, Blink Sol, right? And so people are asking, why do I chart it in USDC? Because if you look here, this is the USDC price. The reason I do that may throw some people off. But when I'm looking at a coin, I want to know how well it's doing in relevance to its USD value, not in relevance to its SOL value. Because the price of SOL will move up and down while the price of a token moves up and down. Sometimes they move inversely away from each other. And so if I'm looking at the chart, I may actually think that the coin is doing better than it actually is, because maybe the price of SOL is actually moving a lot and the price of the token may not be. And that may make me think that the token's doing really well, but it's not. And so I'm not looking at the chart to determine where I'm necessarily at on my position on Meteora. I can just come look at that. I look at the chart to determine the health of the token and determine what the token's doing before I get in and out. And so that's why I look at it in USD. My personal preference, you can look at it however you want, but that's just why I do it. Why do I need more SOL to add liquidity with the token X than the value of token X on Jupiter? More SOL to add. I'm not sure what you're asking there, Hattori. I need more SOL to add liquidity with token X than the value of token X on Jupiter. Are you talking about when you're exchanging the token, Hattori, on Jupiter? I'm not too sure what you mean. If you could rephrase that. What do you think about Rich? I just looked at that a minute ago. 25% more. I'm going to slippage is much slower, right? Sorry. No, that's no problem, Hattori. You can ask your questions. I may just ask you to re-ask them if I'm trying to figure it out. Yeah, you want to make sure that you have a lower slippage. Don't use base, OX Bitcoin. Don't use an L2. L2s will always be inferior. The only reason that L2s look like they're better than ETH as an L1 is because there's less people on them. You can see Polygon. Whenever Polygon was created, people thought it was like the next big thing. The fee structures and all are the exact same as on ETH. They're not any more efficient, really. It's just that there's much less people on the L2s than on the main ETH one. And so because of that, the fee structure looks better. It's just because there's less congestion. There's enough L2s now split between them that they all think that they're the best. But if they all had the same amount of volume and people that ETH had, they would all have the same issue that ETH has. It's the same technology. Just because you rebrand it with a different package doesn't make it any better. The proof of history that Solana does, I moved over to Solana away from Ethereum, away from Binance and all BNB and all these other blockchains because the tech around Solana was just so much better, well ahead of its time. You now see a lot of these newer blockchains like Sui and Say and all these other ones trying to come up and follow after Solana. Solana is the original innovator of the tech that's really, really strong. The proof of history, proof that we see now, and it's the best. So I'm a Solana maxi, so that's why I'll say it the way that I do. I'm also very direct whenever I speak, so don't take any offense. That's just my opinions, obviously. All right, cool. We've caught up on questions. We're over 600 people watching. Thank y'all so much for being here on a Friday. When I stream on Fridays, I'm going to stream for a short amount of time. Usually there's less people that watch as well, but we do have a lot of people watching today. So thank y'all so much for being here. I'm going to go ahead and look at a few different coins here. Obviously, we're not actively DLMMing anything right now. And so I want to see if we can find something here. Mizuki looks like it might be pretty good. The volume has died down a little bit. You can see down here. It looks like a lot of the coins that were moving up pretty quick have started to die down. So let's look at the trending here and see if we can find something that's doing pretty good. Let's see. This one might be okay. Let's look at print. Let me look at Graphane here. Yeah, Graphane is actually still looking the best out of all of these, like ARK and Mizuki and stuff. Even though the prices of them are looking good, we're looking for stuff with volume. Holy smokes. Yeah, this is doing insane volume. Let's see. Top 10 audit looks good. Insiders, there's only a few snipers that got in, so nothing too crazy. Let's check out the X account. Let's see. Followed by one person that I know, Chad Natural Intelligence. Let's see. They're getting some engagement, which doesn't look too bad. Susi is an AI genie who's able to deploy tokens randomly and give you a profit on these tokens. Interesting. Okay. It's got a website, Telegram here. Let's check out the website. Hattori, you can just, instead of doing auto, okay, so it's a whole like AI terminal thing. I'm not going to get all into it, but looks interesting. You can see here volume was a lot out of the gate. It died down a little bit, and then it picked up again pretty heavily here. It's a low market cap. This is super risky, so we'll keep watching it. It's not one that I feel confident in getting in right this moment, but we'll keep watching. Mooney was one that we were looking at earlier. It looks like it's doing decent, so let's take a look at it. I'm going to go to Discord here and see what we are looking at, if anybody is pulling out anything different than what we looked at before. It looks like people are looking at Mooney. Mooney. Yeah, this seems to be the one. The volume is looking pretty insane right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to look for a dip. We're going to set up to buy the coin. If it looks like it's going to dip, if it doesn't look like it's going to dip, then we might just try to get in where we're at. We're going to get in with about 30 SOL. Let's wait to see if it dips some. It hasn't really dipped a lot. A lot of times when a coin's pumping like this, you won't really see any big dips. So we're not looking for anything drastic. We're just looking for something small like that right there. And we'll go ahead. It's auto checking, I assume here. See if we can get it to go through. Jupiter's not working. I'm going to open up Radium here. We're also going to buy some on here. We're going to wait just a little bit. So we're going to see if it bounces off one of these supports. So we're not buying in yet. We're just watching. All right, we're going to try to buy in here. It may dump a little bit more, but I think this might be a good spot. I'm going to buy in as well with 1 Sol on this other small account that I have. Didn't go through. Did this one go through? Yep, that one went through. That's good. Oh, good. It came back down there. Okay. This one did not go through. Let's see if we can buy it again right there. I think it's going to bounce off of one of these supports here potentially. Sometimes I'll wait for it to bounce before I get in, but I think we're going to do it here because we're DLMMing. We're not just trading, right? We're okay with it going down a little bit lower than where we're at. Mooney looks like it's got a good overall kind of narrative behind it. It's a mascot, which mascots have done pretty well. And I waited to kind of see on Mooney when it was around that 1 to 2 mil, like, is it actually going to start to move up, or is it just going to die off because people don't really like this token to represent the Mooney mascot? Because sometimes tokens need to be launched a few times before they actually gain traction. In this instance, it does look like this one has gained some traction, so we feel confident getting in. I still have not gotten in with my 1 Sol buy on Good Morning, Good Night. Might need to refresh it. Sometimes that helps. So let's go ahead and do that. I did get in on here, so we're going to set up a pool on Meteora. Let's see what pools are available. I'm on the Edge. I maybe should be on the app instead of Edge. Earlier, app was not working as well, and so I swapped to Edge. But it looks like I need to. There may actually just not be any pools, but I think there is. Some people in Discord, I think, are DLMMing it, so I'm pretty sure there are. So we swapped to app instead of Edge. Edge is kind of like the updated newest one. I also might just need to reset my browser because it's looking like the browser in general is loading slow. That might be the case here. But either way, we got into Mooney around here. See if we can buy that 1 Sol again real quick here now that we've refreshed it. There we go. Successfully bought on that little dip right there. Come on, man. Let me do a hard refresh on this. It says there's no pools created. Is that accurate? Did I buy the right token? Yeah, that's the right one. Try refreshing the page. I don't see any pools for Mooney either. Is nobody in Discord created one? 200 bin for Mooney. Okay, somebody created one. Thank you. It's just not showing up for some reason. But somebody sent the link directly to me, so we'll do this. All right, so we're going to get this two-sided pool set up. We do the autofill, so it does roughly 50-50. Now it is more on the upside as far as where the liquidity is placed. You can see that it is breaking down here just a little bit, which is totally fine as far as DLMMing. We don't expect it to just always go up, but we wanted to get up in an upward trend, which we did. It does look like it's breaking down now, so we'll continue to watch it to see where it goes. And these are kind of the supports that we're looking at to see where it's going to go from here. So obviously, if it breaks down too low, then we'll get out and just take the loss. It took us a while to get all this set up, unfortunately, but the volume on this still looks really good. So we'll keep watching to see where it goes. You can see Mooney still has the second highest volume behind print here. And there's some other ones popping up as well. Let's see here, but we are going to keep watching Mooney. We're going to set up a few different pools. Obviously, by providing liquidity, we are stabilizing it as well. But Mooney is looking really good here. I like Mooney a lot. If you're looking to get in, I'd look for it to bounce off of this here and continue to push up. I do like Mooney here. Thank y'all for sending that pool in Discord. If you haven't already, Feed Printers Discord is a great place to get free information, find coins that pop up quickly, things like that. And so we really enjoy all the free content. It is a free Discord. There is an NFT, but the NFT does not gate it. It's a free community that you can join and learn information and just hang out, ask questions, all that good stuff. And so you can join Feed Printers if you're interested. Let's see here. Degener, hey man, how's your pools going? Going pretty good right now. We just got into Mooney, and Mooney's looking pretty strong, so that's a good sign there. Can we get a link to the pool as well? Nope, it's just ours. No, I'm just kidding. This is the link to the pool. This is a 200 bin 2% pool. I just posted the link. I think it maybe just sent it to YouTube. Let me put it in here. Yeah, changing the RPC could have helped. I might have should have done that, but we're in it now, so that's all that matters. You can see here we've earned a decent amount of SOL as it started to push up. And as it moves up and down, we'll see where it goes from here. We're in the 200 bin, but it does look really solid here. We're going to see it come up here and test its all-time high. As it comes up here and tests, if it breaks back down, then it looks like it may not. If it breaks above, then that's good. Either way, we got in right around here, and so we're going to keep holding it as it ranges. But obviously, we'd love for it to move up and start to create a new higher range. Mooney does look really solid here. It's got good volume, good metrics all the way around. If you click on the X, I looked at this earlier. It brings it to Moonshot. Obviously, Moonshot is a huge platform, and this is their mascot that they created. Now, they did not create this coin. They created the mascot, and somebody made a coin after it. But a lot of people that create these mascots, they know that there's going to be a coin created. They don't personally want to maybe have a coin themselves because they're a platform that may have one in the future, or maybe they just don't want to have that. And so they create the mascot knowing that a coin is going to get created. And then it's just up to the community whether they're going to grab it or not. Obviously, a mascot of a major platform like Moonshot, which is from Deck Screener, is pretty good. So this could do really well. This could run up pretty strong. So we'll see what it does, though. We're going to keep watching it. Yeah, this print token looks kind of artificial, so we're going to get out of that. ARC's doing well. Mizuki dipped off a little bit. We're just going to get out of some of these. Graphane's still looking pretty good, but we're going to get out of some of these until we get back in it, until we decide to move into those pools. So cool. Hey, we have over 700 people watching now between Twitter and YouTube. Thank y'all so much for being here. I do stream every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then sometimes on Fridays, like you're seeing today. We do live DLMMing. We look at coins, we analyze them, break down how we do, why we do it, and you can see us earn money live. If this is something that interests you, we appreciate it. Come check us out more often. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat, either on YouTube or on Twitter. I'm able to see all of them. Let me know. Right now, we are looking at Mooney. Mooney's doing really well. Looks like it's probably going to break out here. As it does, if you haven't gotten in yet, this could be a good time. If it breaks down, then you might want to wait for it to ping off of one of these bottom supports here. But if it does break out, then it may be a good time, showing that's going to keep moving up higher before it starts to come back and stabilize down. Yeah. Our Mooney pools are looking really, really good, though. So we're looking for this candle to close out here, and if it does, then it could pump up even harder. We do a little bit of buying and selling on this wallet on Good Morning, Good Night. It's a super fast bot that we use. And so we just went ahead and took a little bit of profit there as it's testing this support. Obviously, our main DLMM is here still. You can see It's still going live. We actually haven't earned any Mooney token because since we opened this pool, it's only gone up. But we're looking to see if it's going to break out above here or if it's going to continue to trend back down. Excuse me. Ooh, my allergies are a little hot this morning. But we got in a good spot here. And so even if it does break back down, we'll look for it to create a new resistance, a new support somewhere between here, or just for it to come back down and create one here again. It could also, it's still testing this, so it could actually still break back out here if there is enough volume. So we'll continue to watch it and see what it does there. ARC is actually breaking out right now, which is really good. I'm gonna go ahead and buy some ARC here as well while we're also watching Mooney. I'm just gonna do a swap of 15 SOL. I don't have a ton of liquidity to work with compared to normal. And so a lot of it is in Mooney right now. And then we'll also look at doing some ARC. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna buy some ARC and then I'm gonna create a one-sided pool on the way up. It looks like it's breaking out its all-time high, which means it's more than likely gonna keep pushing up here. And so we did go ahead and buy that. So we're going to go ahead and open a quick pool on ARC and set it to one side so that as it pushes up, we'll be able to capture that. We're just going to do a one-sided spot because we're not sure how high it's going to go. And we're also just going to do 100 bin because we're just looking to earn some fees quick on this. And so I'm going to go ahead and open it up as it moves up here. And it may not break up. This is just break out, but this is what I think it's going to do. So that's why we're setting this up the way that we are. Mooney's doing good. Looks like it's starting to create another support here and a nice little upward trend. So we'd like to see it continue to break up here, or if it comes down and breaks off of this support here, that's great as well before moving back up. We are in a two-sided pool. And so that's our ARC pool. We'll come back to that one. ARC's starting to break back down just a little bit. So we'll see if it goes back up or not. I think it will, which is why I did what I did, but we'll have to watch and see. And Mooney... There we go. Now we're earning fees both ways, which is great. We're still not even back to our center. We're still slightly on the top side here. Our center, where we got in at, you can see the little buy is basically right around where it is now. And so we'll see if it creates a new support here or if it's going to come down a little bit further. But this is a great spot. If it continues to range right in here, then we're going to earn a ton of fees because the volume is so high on this. You can see that we're earning, well, it's actually not showing. Normally it does, but it might be messing up a little bit. Let's see if we can change our RPC. Maybe it'll show up a little better there. Let's do a refresh. Yeah, really nice bounce here. So it is starting to create a support. It's kind of I would say there's a support kind of between these two. They're very close together, right between here and here. Kind of creates a support zone, if you would. And then there's also one lower down here. So we're looking for it to come up. It is breaking back up above this, or potentially breaking above that. We need to wait for it to close out. And so we'll look for it to continue to move back up and then break out to some higher numbers, hopefully. But this sideways trend is beautiful. Again, if it just sat in this, we'd be happy with that all day, earning a lot of different fees. So I'm not sure what that tab is that I had open. Use this pool, can't search, it's broken. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's broken. Every now and then that'll happen. Obviously, like when you're using platforms online with code and stuff, sometimes stuff gets a little messed up. It could be RPCs are slow. There could be a lot of things, congestion on Solana. And so if that's the case, sometimes it'll take a little bit to load. The Mooney pool is glitching out, not showing. Yeah, it's not showing the correct fees, but obviously we could do the math on it and see here. We have 15K in there and we've earned almost, what is that? Almost 400, a little less, like $360 so far in the short amount of time that we've had it open. So it's doing really, really well. You could do the math on that. Let me get the calculator. I don't know how long we've had it open, so I couldn't tell you exactly. But if we have, let's see, 15,600 roughly. Or sorry, here we go. 169 plus 190. Yep, 360 roughly, and then you divide that by 15,691. We've earned about almost 2.3%, and that's only been, this pool has been open maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10. I'm not exactly sure. Let's just go ahead and assume that it's 10 minutes. We'll multiply by the 6 and then multiply by 24. And you can see we get to 329% APR. That sounds about right. Again, this is just an estimate, but that does sound about right. So Mooney's just kind of having a little bit of slow buys and sells here. So we're not really seeing a ton of price action, which is why the pool's not picking it up. But also you can see the pool chart over here isn't loading, and the pools themselves are having trouble loading. And so it could be something either with the RPCs or with the network right now that's just a little congested. And so because of that, this actually isn't updated probably as quick as it could. It's probably a little bit delayed. But also, if a token stays near the price with some little buys and sells, sometimes it won't actually go through our pool, so we won't necessarily see it moving actively. So it could be a combination of a few of those things. But either way, earning really good fees. We'll continue to watch it and see. We'll want it to continue to break off of this and move back up. If it does break back down and doesn't stay within this range, then we could just close it out. We've made a good amount of money on it and be happy from there. This is kind of the conservative one. So if it breaks below this one here, this would be the conservative play to set, just to try to really minimize losses. But obviously, you could be missing out on it coming back up. And so this is kind of the slightly, riskier or more like allowing a lower, potentially more loss coming down to here. But this is a pretty significant resistance to where if it comes below this, it's probably going to fall pretty hard. So it might fight off of here pretty well. And so this one could just be a more important support, not resistance, support for it to bounce off of. So we'll continue to watch and see. Ideally, it continues up in this range here before doing something else. If you're watching ARK is continuing to do well. It might potentially break out even further. One thing to consider is ARK is coming up on the 100 million spot. And so normally when that's the case, you'll see a lot of resistance before it breaks up into that. So anywhere between the 90 to 98 range, you'll see a lot of choppiness on coins that have a lot of momentum. There's a lot of people that are trying to buy into it because they expect it to break above. And there's a lot of people that are selling into it because they think that other people are going to sell when it hits the 100 million mark. It's a significant resistance line to break above. And so we'll see a lot of action here. That's good for us because if y'all remember when we got into ARK, we just set up a one-sided pool. That way we didn't have to add any SOL to it. And let me show y'all where that's at here. And you can see we're earning over 100%. We're at the very bottom of our range because of where we got in at. But as the token pushes up here, which it looks like it has been kind of bouncing up and down, then it'll come back into range and we'll earn some more fees. It does look like it probably is a few different times come down out of the bottom of our range before breaking back up. But if it continues to push up here like it is there, then we'll start earning some more fees, especially as it moves closer to the 100 million mark. Draw some new lines there. Okay. Mooney did break back down. I think we're going to be a little more risk tolerant. If you don't have a lot of risk on this, then if this candle closes out, which it looks like it is, but it may not. If this candle closes out, meaning that it completes the 1 minute chart and is going to make a new candle below this line, then you might want to get out. For me, let me go to the pool here. For me, I'm okay with, I clicked on ARK again. I'm okay with waiting on Mooney. I'm okay. You can see like we're just below where we entered at. And so for us, we're really not that far off because we entered over here, right? You can see the little buy button. We entered right around here. So we're just below where we got in at. So it coming down to here, it's actually only a minor loss for us. Depending on where you got in, if you got in higher up here, you may want to get out now, again, depending on your risk tolerance. But I'm going to wait and see if it bounces off of this more significant support before I would determine if I want to get out or not. And so we'll let it range all the way down to here and keep fighting back up and hold it. Of course, if it breaks below that, then we'll get out as well. Thanks, but still not showing. Hey, Graham Good, if you click on the Meteora link that was sent, I sent it. I think a few other people sent it. You should be able to open the pool that way. I know the pools are being a little glitchy right now. It could just be something with Meteora itself, with Jupiter, with the RPCs. It's hard to fully know. You can see a lot of my numbers, like right here on the pools, aren't even showing accurately, like on my Mooney pool. And so, yeah, just a lot of the stuff's not updating right now. this dip right now, one good thing about this, right? Like, so if this ends up coming down and fighting back up, which I'm hoping it will, a lot of times these pretty heavy dips like this are really, really good for fees. And the reason why, you can see we've already earned 340 bucks in just the Mooney token as this has dipped back down. And so heavy dips and heavy pullback up are really, really, really good for us earning fees. So exciting to see that. Obviously, we want it to move back up for the price of our token to go up over time. But overall, it could end up being a really good thing for us. So we'll continue to watch it and see if it bounces off this here or not. Let me make sure I'm not missing out on anything else as well. ARC came back down a little bit. So it's out of our range on our pool. We might actually, we're going to go to our ARC pool and close it out and open it a little bit lower. We don't have a ton of SOL to play with. And so we only have $3,200 roughly of ARC right now. And so I actually want to set it at a slightly lower range. So that way, as it bounces between kind of this 88 and 100 mil, which I think it will do, we'll be able to capture more fees. And so again, we'll just do this spot on this 100 bin 1% like this. So we're trying to set it as it's dipped down here, just a little lower. If it dips down even further, we'll just reset it again because we want to capture the fees from the bottom of the range all the way to the top. And so we're trying to time this one-sided pull right to be at the bottom of the range as it moves up. Obviously, we're not doing that super well right now. And so we're just going to keep resetting it if it keeps dropping lower. It looks like Mooney did bounce off of here. We're going to continue to watch it. It could bounce off of, well, the next big support is actually all the way up here. So we'll need to watch and see if it's going to come all the way back up here. So this is actually interesting. So because this had a pretty big fall here without much of any sort of kind of support happening, what it's showing is that it's probably going to continue to range on the bottom side here, bouncing off this bottom line. It would be good to see it break above, but the next resistance it needs to break above is pretty high here. It's pretty close to its all-time high. And so if it breaks above this, that's a good sign that it'll actually come and test up here. But if not, then we'll continue to watch it range down here, which again is perfectly fine because we'll be earning a lot of fees the whole time, as long as it then eventually breaks back up. For us, this is actually near where we entered at. You can see the little buy line right here. And so that's actually a really good spot for us. ARC did dip a little bit more, so we might actually close out of this and reset it one more time. We're trying to find it at the bottom of its range. Now, if I had Solana, I wouldn't be doing this. I don't have a whole lot of extra liquidity right now. I would just create a two-sided pool so it'd capture it on the way down and on the way up. But in this instance, I don't. And so I want to capture it at the bottom of its range, which I might have missed it. It looks like it might. No, it's still good. You can see which it's at right now. It's testing off this. Now, it could come down lower. If that's the case, then we'll probably just set it up again here, and we'll continue to do that. Obviously, the overall value of our token is going down as this is happening, but that's not a big deal because our bin is going to end up taking us well above the 100 mil. We'll still be way up if it ends up moving all the way up out of it, and we'll be earning fees the whole time. Like I said, the 100 mil mark is pretty significant, so I expect it to bounce around between like the 85 to 100 mil mark for a little while. And so that's why we're trying to set it up where it is now. Like I said, probably going to keep ranging around here. The big thing is we just don't want it to break below this line significantly. It might move a little bit below it at some point, which is fine because this line is not perfect. It's not an exact support line. It's just kind of an estimate. So we'll give it a little bit of grace and leeway. But if it does look like it's going to break down significantly, then we'll get out. And if it keeps bouncing here, then we'll keep holding it as well. If anybody has any questions, please let me know. You can always update. Let's see. Thanks for that. Are you still on Mizuki? I'm not in Mizuki right now. Mizuki, I think, might still be doing pretty well. The last time I looked at it, it was doing okay. It looked like it was breaking down a little bit. So let's see what Mizuki's doing. We got out of it on the high side whenever we had made a little bit of money. Made good fees overnight on it, like, I don't know, maybe 1,100 or something. And then as it broke up, I think we sold near one of these top ones. I don't remember which one it was. But we sold. It's still looking okay. The volume on Mizuki is still pretty decent. Nothing like outrageous, but it's definitely a solid amount of volume. And it does look like it's still ranging nicely. Now, if it continues to break back down, you'll just need to watch that. I'd look for it to start moving back up. But overall, it's still decent. We're just not doing it right now. We have a one-sided pull we just set up at the bottom of this support here. And so on ARC, and we set up 100 bin 1%. We just did a one-sided pull because we think it's going to continue to bounce kind of between this 85 and 100 mil. And so we want to try to capture that as it does. And we're still in Mooney at the bottom side of our range, but still ranging nicely, earning lots of fees. Hey, bro, what is the benefit of Good Morning, Good Night? So Good Morning, Good Night does a few things. One thing that I've noticed is that Good Morning, Good Night is faster than Deck Screener and Bird Eye. So that's one thing. Its charts actually update faster. So if I go to Deck Screener, for instance, and we look at this Mooney token, I'll show y'all what I mean. And we pull this up, we can actually see the price action happen on Mooney. Where's the chart at? Oh, there it is. So you can see here, it just moved up to 0.306, 0.305, 0.029. Honestly, they both look different. I'm not sure which one's more accurate. Let's wait to see if we can see something significant. The other day when I looked at it, Good Morning, Good Night was a little bit fast. Yeah, see, there you go. That little dip just happened where this one did earlier. Watch. This one will now come down a little bit more. Watch. Yeah. So it's like 15 seconds delayed here. I've saw it even earlier, like 15 to 30 seconds delayed. So Good Morning, Good Night has been faster than Deck Screener and faster than Bird Eye as well. And so similar to like Vector, slightly slower than Vector, but pretty close. And so that's why we like it. That's why we've been using it. One is the charts are faster. I also really like the layout, how the chart is the biggest part of it here. I like how it shows all the holder stuff down here, the bubble map. And then I like that all the information is positioned near each other. It shows you a lot of good info, like how many snipers are in, what they've done, how many people are holding other blue chips, the market cap, liquidity, top 10 holder, the audit, all that kind of stuff, the 1, 5, 1 hour, 24-hour volumes. Everything is right here, nice and consolidated, which I really, really like. So I like the layout. I like the speed. You can also buy and sell off of it. So you can upload your wallet or use their wallet directly to it, and then you can trade off of that. So it's a bot as well, right? I mean, like a trade bot, basically, even though it's not a bot, like a trade, whatever you want to call it. I think people call it trade bots. But it allows me to buy and sell a little bit quicker as well instead of going through Jupiter and stuff like that. So I still do use Jupiter because I'm managing multiple wallets at once, but that's why I use it. Also, if you're using Good Morning, Good Night, I do have a referral, and I'm going to put that in the chat. So if you use it, I'd appreciate using mine. I don't know why. Whenever I post it on my stream thing, I think it only sends it to YouTube. It doesn't send it to both. But anyway, I post it on both there for you to be able to use. I'd appreciate it. You're not saying you should use it, not saying you have to use it. Use whatever you feel comfortable with. But if you do use it, I'd appreciate if you used ours. I appreciate if you would use mine. My wife would say it's ours. Cool. If anybody has any questions, please let me know. We are up to almost 800 people, just under, watching both on Twitter and YouTube. Thank you all so much for being here. I stream Monday, Wednesday, Thursday of every week, and sometimes on Friday like I am now. Just doing a quick few things on my Vector app there. Let's see what people are watching on Vector. See if anybody's seeing something that they like. Blink is actually taking a decent dip right now, but it might be a good time to get back into it. Saw some people that had bought some earlier. What gears are you using? I love the mouse click sound. I have no idea what gears I'm using on my mouse. It's a Razer Death Adder V2, whatever that is. And then my keyboard is a Razer one. It's actually a Star Wars one. It's not lit up because I just unplugged it, but it's like a black and white Stormtrooper one. My whole desk is white, and I have a giant black mat. So my whole setup is kind of all black and white, pretty clean looking setup. I also have a standing desk that's automated so that I can stand up and down. And so if y'all wanted to see like more of my stuff there, then I could move it up and down. I'm not going to do it right now. I feel like sitting, but let's see. It has one of some security checks. Like you see, if token creator rugged before, you can also see where people buy in the chart 1 minute. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. I agree. Say this. You can only see the ARC chart. Dre, what do you mean? Hey, what about lemonade stand duck? You should be able to see all the charts as I move it. Again, ARC's looking pretty good. Let's see. Mooney. Oh, is it breaking below here? Oh, wait. Why is this line there? Should be right there. So we're watching to see if it's going to break below here. Are we still? We're still in ARC, right? Yeah. Yeah, ARC's looking really good. See if it updates. There's no way I've only earned $1.68. What? I guess it just hasn't moved up enough for me to be able to earn off of it based on where my pool is. That seems strange. I think it's probably delayed based on some stuff going on, but maybe not. Oh, good. It did resist and start to break up back up here. That's good to see. This is why we wait for the candle to actually close below the line and not just dip below it temporarily, because it's just a temporary thing. It's just showing that there were some big sells here. People got scared. But I really like Mooney here. I think that it could push back up, and I'm going to continue to hold. We are earning amazing fees. Also, depending on your risk tolerance, if you're a swing trader, you could get in here. Or if you wanted to wait for it to break back up into this range here, this would be a good range to get back in as well. And so, yeah, let's look at our Mooney pool. It is earning really, really good fees right now. Yeah, we've already earned, just in a small time we've been here, we've already earned over $800, almost closing in on $900. The 24-hour fee isn't showing up, but I'd imagine it's saying like 300 or 400% right now. If I did the math, I'd imagine it'd be pretty close. We're just below the middle of our range here, so still sitting really good. That's why we did a 200 bin 2% pool. We wanted to make sure we had a wide range to be able to capture all the fees up and down. And it does look like it bounced well off this and is pushing up here. So let's wait to see. I'm hoping and thinking that it might end up coming up here and breaking out at some point. Usually after a few tests, at some point it'll break back out one way or the other. And so, yeah, let's see where it goes. Volume on it's still really good. The 1 hour is 4.1 million. The 5 minutes, 160K. And the 1 minute is going to fluctuate a ton, but it's like 20, 30K depending on where it's at there. So continue watching that. ARC is back testing its support here. And Mizuki slowly moving up, doing okay. We'll go ahead and close out of that for now. Let's see if there's anything else trending as well right now. Graphane is still doing well. One that we were looking at potentially DLMMing at some point. Yeah, Graphane's looking really good. It's testing a support right now. I mean, a resistance right now. Oh, come on. Give me the horizontal one. Right there. Next one is here, which is also pretty close to this high here. The all-time high is way up here on Graphane. But overall, you can see it's in a very strong, nice uptrend here. And it's testing some more here. These are the supports for it. Yeah, this one's interesting. I might get into this one shortly. So we're still watching Mooney here, still ranging down here. Again, if it continues to range, we're fine with that, earning a lot of fees along the way. We're watching ARC test off of the support to see what it does. But overall, I'm kind of sad we don't have a two-sided pool on ARC. We don't have the amount of liquidity needed unless I sell out of something else first. And so because of that, we just set up a one-sided pool, but it keeps breaking down below it just slightly. And so we keep readjusting. Let me show you what that looks like. Thoughts on trenches? I'll recheck trenches. It wasn't one that I was super excited about earlier. What was your profession before entering Solana? So I've done a lot of different things. I've been in sales and marketing for a lot of my life. I've also done some investing in some financial stuff as well as some real estate. And then I've been in ministry for a long time. So I was also a youth pastor. Now I don't get paid to be a youth pastor. It's just something that I do on the side. But yeah. What are your thoughts putting a one-sided bid-ask position in ahead of time to help DCA out of the position? Yeah, I think that's a great idea. That's a great thing to do, Trev. That DCAing in and out, earning fees instead of paying fees is a great way to do it. Oh, yeah. Thoughts on trenches. Let's take a look. We're still watching Mooney here. It's continuing to bounce. I feel pretty confident it's going to continue to bounce like this and move up. And so that's why I'm looking off of it every now and then. I think this has a really good narrative behind it. And this is a pretty significant support. And so I think that it makes sense that it'll keep bouncing off of this. Even if it breaks a little bit below, I think it'll still keep bouncing. And we're just going to look for it to basically for all the people that are scared down here that are selling to get out. And then eventually it'll move back up. So got to have conviction on stuff. You know what I mean? Even if it's just in the short term. What are we looking at? Trenches, right? Doesn't look like it's in the top volume anymore, which doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, but let's take a look. Yeah, trenches has dribbled down a lot. Volumes dropped down a lot. It's in a complete downtrend. So it's not one that I'd be get into or interested in right now. Grafane is doing decent for me, 40% in a 20 bin. Yeah, 20 bin's pretty tight. But obviously, if you can do a 20 bin like that, then it works pretty well. I mean, 20 bin will stay probably between this range here. But if it moves too much up here or down here, then you'll probably get out of the 20 bin. And so I personally wouldn't do that. I would rather do maybe a 50 bin or an 80 bin and get a little bit less just so that I could capture more. Because as you can see here, there's times where it's broken out above and below the range that we have drawn here. And so being able to capture those fees is important as well. I'd rather be more consistent with a lower fee setup than just try to capture a bunch really, really quickly, but end up getting hurt in the long run. So, but yeah, whatever works for you. I think the 20 bin, if you're earning a high fee and you can stay within that range, then good job. That's a good thing to do for sure. Yep, Mooney's continuing to range down there. Continue to look at some of these coins that might pop up. Grafane, ARC's doing good. Did we ever reset up our ARC pool? Is it still just chilling? Yeah, it's barely earned anything because it keeps barely entering into range and then popping back out again. We'll see what it does here if it decides to go back down. If it comes back up, we'll just keep holding it where it's at. And if it doesn't, then as it comes down, we'll reset it a little bit lower and keep watching Mooney here as well. We're up to over 820 views. Thank you all so much for being here and for watching. The 80 bin is earning 11% fees. That's a pretty big difference. So maybe I'd go with like the 50 bin on that personally. If you bookmark your horizontal line, it'll stay on your screen and make it easier to add lines. Oh yeah, I could do that. That's a good idea. Ta-da, there it is. Thank you. I can just bam, bam, real quick now. Thank you for that suggestion. How many Met points do you have total at the minute? Honestly, don't I look at that under like Met leaderboard or something right here? Maybe all of the leaderboards, whenever I try to enter them, they like all glitch out. They take like hours to try to load my wallet and then they glitch out. So I guess that's a good sign. It means I'm up there, but I'm not very sure. What's the other leaderboard site that I could check? I know a guy in Fee Printers made this one, but I'm not sure what the other one is. If somebody sends it to me, I'll check and we can look at the points live on here. Also want to look at HawkFi. I'm not going to be on too much longer. I've already been on here much longer than I expected, but I'm going to take a look at HawkFi and go over that just a little bit as well. The Geek Lad thing. Check top 100 to 1K manually. I think I'm in the top 100. Like, I think I'm probably between like 50 and 100. Oops. Yeah, it looks like I've checked it in the past. I'm trying to check it. Oh, here it is. It says I'm ranked 219. There you go. I have 46 million points. Is that right? I think that's right. Let's see what this one says. So I used this the other day and it like wasn't very accurate for some reason. It like missed out on, there's like pools that I know that it wasn't showing. When I did use this one the other day. You can see on the Met leaderboard, it says I'm ranked 219 and I have 46,500,000 points. I assume that's pretty good. At one point, I think I was ranked higher. Yeah, I can show you some stuff, Jucifer. How did you learn how to DLMM originally? Crypto Rizzy asked. I originally learned because I had gotten into other pools. Forms of liquidity pools. Yeah, Mooney's still moving up and down. Got some good little buys, volume coming in here. We'll keep watching and wait for it to potentially break out. And it looks like good morning. ARK is also doing pretty good. Might be looking to move up as well. So we'll keep holding those and watch. Graphane's dipping back down, but we'll watch all of these and see how they do. But yeah, I originally had gotten into different forms of liquidity pools. And started on like Radium and Orca, and those did pretty well. I also looked at Camino and did some stuff there. And so I've just been in liquidity pools for a long time messing around. And so when the DLMM came up, it wasn't too hard to transition. Some new technology, some new features, but overall, still like similar stuff. And so that's where I originally did it. I've been in Solana for about 3 years, and I've probably been messing with the liquidity pools for about 2 to 2.5 of those years. Joey, great question. Do you prefer tight ranges or wide ranges? It depends on the scenario. I do a little bit of both. I'm looking at Mooney here, which is a low cap meme coin. It's a little riskier, so I'll do a wider range. So that way, if it does break down, I don't lose as much, and it gives me more room if the token does end up moving up to be able to earn fees along the way. If it's something like Graphane, I might do a 20 or 40 or 50 bin, something that's much tighter because it's a larger market cap. And I want to try to be able to capture more fees because there's more competition and because maybe there's less volume compared to the market cap. And so I might do a tighter range on this if I think that it's going to stay within a certain range for a while. So it just kind of depends on what's going on. The tighter range, the more fees you can earn. The wider the range, the less fees you earn. But tighter ranges, more risky. Wider range is safer. And so it just kind of depends on what you're doing. You might be more than that rank because it doesn't show how long your pools are open, only fees. The longer I leave a pool open, do I earn more? Is that how that works, Unknown? Did they say that? Like, that's definitely a one of the things. Continue to watch Mooney here. Looks like it's trying to move up, so we'll see if it continues to do that. I do like Mooney again. I think that it will continue to move up at some point, so we'll just have to watch and see where it goes from here. And ARK is doing decent as well. Let's see if our ARK pool, yeah, it's just got back into range, so that's good. It says we're earning 13% on it, which is pretty good, but this has been averaged down because of how long the pool's been open, where it was below the range. So I imagine it's actually earning more than this. If it stays in range here and continues to move up, I think we'll see this average up much higher. So we'll have to see, but we are on 100 bin 1% on ARK. And so, yeah, we'll see where it goes. Still looking at graphene here and there because it's one that we'll probably want to get into. All right, real quick, let's look at HawkFi. And so HawkFi is an automated site. It connects to both Orca and Meteora. I use it because I'm doing this challenge here, but I think it's also really good to be able to set up Sol USDC or other more stable pools. You can also do other pools in it as well. But the idea is that I would set up a Sol USDC pool. I do a 20 bin, slightly tighter than what the default is. And then as Sol moves between it, I'm earning a bunch of fees. If it moves out of range, HawkFi automatically rebalances my pool for me so that I don't have to continually watch it. It also auto compounds the fees every hour, which means that I can compound faster and start earning more fees every single hour as it does that. And so over time, this will start to add up more and more. The price of Sol has dipped down a lot. It's at 200 and what, 22? Yeah. So right now the price of Sol's dipped. And yet, based on all the fees we've earned, you can see the balance is still higher. We started at 50K 3 days ago. Now, if the price of Sol goes up from here, then this value will increase. And if it goes down, then it'll decrease depending on how much fees that we earn. Overall, we're just trying to increase how much Solana and USDC we have over time. And so the goal is that over time, this will continue to grow even as it moves up and down. And so this is not related to Hawk2 at all. They will have a Hawk token. Right now, they do not have the point system set up. You can see here actual points and rank soon, but they do have a referral code here. I'm going to go ahead and enter this referral code. I have 2 different codes, so because I use 2 different wallets. And so if you see this code and you're like, that's different than the one I have, that's okay. You can use whatever one that you used before. But if you do use this, not saying you should use it, that you have to use it, but if you do, I would appreciate it if you would enter my code in, which you can do at the top here. Just enter it here. You can do it retroactively, or you can do it whenever you go to actually set up your account as well. I do this on a Sol USDC specifically because it rebalances. So like today, I'm going to get off around lunch. I probably won't check my pools for a few hours. While that's the case, I'll be happy knowing that this is going to auto rebalance itself. And so it won't be sitting out of range too long. Also, overnight and over the weekend, I don't have to worry about that, and my money just works on itself. You have any tips on calculating and keeping track of P&L and earnings after each DLMM session? So if you're using Meteora, we can go to metlex.io. Metlex.io allows you to go to your transactions that you have in your wallet. You can get the transaction ID, and then you're able to put it in down here under P&L and put in your transaction ID here, and you can check your P&L based on the pool and how well it did. It'll calculate both the fees earned as well as the total TVL you entered and exited on. And so if you just take after each DLMM session, you just go to all your different transactions that you made, all the different pools that you entered and exited, and you just get the exit transaction ID of it, and it'll tell you your P&L. We might have entered maybe 5 or 4 times, and we can look at the total amount that we either earned or lost and measure it based on that. GeekLad will also show all your stuff. Very cool. We'll let that keep running and see what it does. Calculate rank. Oops. Let's see what happens when I do this. You can see here Mooney is breaking back up. It'd be really great if it broke back above this here. It signified that it's starting to get really strong and starting to push back up even more. This is a good spot. We're going to let it just keep riding all the way up. We're earning great fees off of this right now. This is why it's good to be patient. We allowed it to move down in this bottom range for a while, and now it's pushing back up. And so you can see just off of this alone, we had, let's see, around $13,800 in this pool. You can see that we've already earned over $1,000 from this pool, and it's now pushing up into the top side of our range. We're going to continue to watch it and see. We need it to close out a candle above this. It does look like it's going to do that, but we need to actually have it close out for it to then continue to break back up. As it does, it'll keep ranging. We're happy to just sit here and let it range. This thing could end up going to 5-6 mil. I don't know that it will, but it could continue to push up from there. So we're going to continue to watch it and see where it goes. Yeah, we'll see where it goes from there. This will also show all your stuff. Just replace the wallet address. Very cool. Hey, we're up to 860 people watching. You're on X or on YouTube or on both of them. Hey, after this is over, if you want to go back and watch it, or if somebody else is asking about watching it, you can click on my YouTube link, which is in my X account. You should also be able to come directly back to this broadcast link that you're on, and you can watch all this content if later on if you want, or share it with other people. Looking forward to the tutorial threads. Yeah, so last night I made like 3 videos. I'm going to edit those videos today, take a look at them a little bit more later today or over the weekend. I also need to add a few, and I'm going to make a big like kind of just guide, Meteora guide, a whole thread with the videos in each of the thread posts. I've had a ton of people asking me about that, so that's what we're going to do. That should be helpful and help answer a lot of these questions. So that way, when people ask the same questions over and over again, I can actually just refer back to that for people to go watch them instead of me answering them every time, because that way we can keep learning new information and not having to keep going back, which will be nice. So it looks like it did break above here, but then it immediately looks like it's trying to come back down. That's okay. A lot of times when this happens, it'll just break down a little bit before fighting back up. So that's what I think will happen. We'll continue to watch it. If it does start to break back down, we might end up just waiting, just like we did here, and let it range for a little while. But we'll see. I think it's going to end up moving back up here. Sometimes you just have the percent difference of where you buy the coin, where do you sell the coin total. So I'm not sure if the tool is the most accurate. Yeah, it shows you where. Oh, yeah, you're right. So like if I buy the coin, but I enter in at a higher or lower number than what I actually bought it for, then it will be a little bit off there. You could just set up a spreadsheet. I've done that in the past. You set up a spreadsheet and then you just put in whenever you go to buy it, how much you bought it at. And then whenever you exit, you can just put what you exit at. So you can do it manually like that as well. And then you can just use the metlex.io to look at the fees that you earned on it. So you can just do that. Been enjoying the streams. This is what I wanted to find as a group to learn and DLM with. So thank you very much. Trev, thank you so much, man. Glad that you're here. Glad that you enjoy it. I love the community. The fee printers community is really great, whether you're a part of that or not. We appreciate you being here. We still have a community on the stream as well. And so if you haven't already, I would go check out Fee Printers Discord. It's a great free resource to be able to find new coins, see what people are doing, see what people are saying. There's a lot of good callers and stuff like that in there. Just as always, make your own decisions, do your own research on stuff. I don't want to just do this so that y'all can just say, oh, like I bought into Mooney and it did really well and I made money. I want you to learn how and why I do what I do, and hopefully you can make your own decisions and come to a good strategy for you to be able to earn money that as well. So I want to give education. I want to help you. Nothing that I do is financial advice. I never think that you should do exactly what I'm doing. That's always your choice. I just want to help. I'm here for entertainment and education purposes only. So yeah, I'm actually going to get off now. And so this has been really, really good. It's actually a longer stream than I expected. It's almost 2 hours. And I thought I was only going to do an hour today. And so I'm watching Mooney right now. Depending on where you entered at, you might want to keep holding and wait. We're still earning fees, so we're happy with where it's at. I think that it ends up moving up over time. But you need to make that decision for yourself, whether you stay in this or in ARC, or whether you get in and out of Graphane, for example. But I am going to hop off here. As you can see, the pools have been doing really well, earning a lot of fees. Hopefully you've been earning a lot of those as well. If you have, then you'll be farming the Met airdrop. You can also use HawkFi and you'll earn the Hawk tokens as well, which will go towards a Hawk airdrop eventually. And you'll farm both the Met and the Hawk points at the same time if you're using this as well. So thank y'all so much for being here. We ended up getting pretty close to 900 people watching today. And so thank y'all for taking time out of your Fridays to do that. I'll be back streaming on Monday. And if you have any questions, obviously come into the Fee Printers Discord, message me on Twitter, or just respond under one of my tweets. Then I appreciate it. And as always, if you use Good Morning, Good Night or HawkFi, please enter in one of my codes. It helps support me a ton. And also, if you can engage with any of my tweets and things like that, I am trying to get monetized. Everything that I do is free content, free information. And so if y'all can engage with anything as best as possible, I always appreciate that so much. And I hope y'all have a good Friday and an amazing weekend. I'll see you on Monday.